Did you know there's a community right in the heart of America, often called rejecting the modern world? The Amish live simple, shunning modern conveniences, but beneath this modest exterior lies secrets that will leave you astonished. Imagine a courtship tradition where couples share a bed but aren't allowed any physical contact. And in a society where homosexuality is considered inappropriate, what unfolds their love life? But what truly happens behind the closed doors of their bedrooms might leave you speechless. Get ready to uncover the shocking secrets of the hidden intimate lives the Amish have kept under wraps until now. The Amish community, they are completely isolated from the civilized world. They do not use cars, televisions, or machines of any kind. And especially, individual identity is considered irrelevant. The community's religious beliefs guide many aspects of life, including cultural views on relationships and family life. Homosexuality is considered inappropriate, on par with other behaviors that the Amish believe are contrary to their interpretation of the Bible. Although church leaders claim that such feelings are rare, it is unlikely that any community is completely immune. So what happens when someone in this traditional society begins to question their love life? Public admission is virtually unheard of. Deeply held beliefs that view such tendencies as undesirable create an environment where few feel safe expressing them. Young Amish people who want to live out their identity risk losing their families, their communities, and the only life they know. These people are faced with emotions they have been taught to suppress and are not accepted. Facing this often leaves them without companionship. This belief stems not from the absence of gay people, but from a culture that has little room for acceptance. In Amish doctrine, homosexuality is seen as a moral flaw, not a personal identity, which causes many to hide or leave. For those who stay, counseling is available, although it focuses on guiding them to conform to church teachings rather than acceptance. The Amish believe that gay people are worthy of love. As in any community, love-life relations may occur in Amish relationships. Though premarital relationships are officially discouraged, they do occur within the Amish community, much like in other societies. When these relationships lead to pregnancy, couples may face unique consequences. Often, they're encouraged to marry quickly, resulting in weddings held outside the traditional wedding season to avoid public embarrassment for the family. In the Amish community, such accelerated weddings are a quiet way to address premarital relationships without excessive social consequences. Unlike mainstream American society, where marriage trends are shifting later, most Amish individuals marry in their early 20s. One reason for this early marriage is that baptism into the Amish church is required before marriage, signaling a commitment not only to a spouse, but also to the faith. According to a 2023 study by the Young Center for Anabaptist and Pietist Studies, this trend remains consistent, with over 80% of young Amish adults choosing marriage within the community by age 25. As couples marry young, they embrace family life as part of their devotion to the church and each other, creating strong bonds that last throughout their lives. Additionally, unlike many Western societies where multiple marriages are allowed, the Amish firmly maintain monogamy as a core principle. With premarital love life being restricted, do you wonder how they have been exposed to learning about relationships and reproduction? But before we get started, I have a 10-second request for all of you. If you can help us out, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll always be the first to get our new videos and exciting content. This would mean a lot to us. In return, we promise to keep making this show even better for you. Deal? Where life is guided by simplicity and modesty, certain topics, especially those related to romantically active, are often left unspoken. In contrast to mainstream education, where sex education is a regular part of the curriculum, Amish schools avoid the subject entirely. This silence around sex education is not merely a school policy, but part of a broader cultural value. Instead, Amish children and adolescents gain a basic, informal understanding of reproduction by learning for themselves. They observe the behavior of farm animals to satisfy their own curiosity. Or they talk to friends and overhear adult conversations. As a result, Amish approach adulthood with a gradual, somewhat fragmented understanding of reproduction. This piecemeal learning method contrasts sharply with the more structured, fact-based education provided in non-Amish communities. This lack of formal sex education raises significant questions. How do young Amish adults enter marriage and family life without the knowledge typically gained from structured education? According to experts like Dr. Donald Craybill from the Young Center for Anabaptist and Pietist Studies, this knowledge gap can lead to misunderstandings and challenges for young Amish couples entering marriage. Without a clear understanding of reproduction, consent, and bodily autonomy, many Amish women in particular may feel unprepared for the realities of marriage and family life. Imagine you're stepping out of a world where horse-drawn buggies replace cars, technology is almost non-existent, and life revolves around faith, family, and tradition. For young Amish, this isn't just a dream. It's Rumspringa, a transformative period where they're given a rare taste of the outside world. Rumspringa, often romanticized as a time of freedom, is more than just an escape from the restrictions of Amish life. It's an intense, deeply personal journey where young Amish men and women explore what it might mean to step away from their way of life. They might try modern fashion, embrace social media, or even indulge in things like parties, alcohol, or dating. Rumspringa allows these young people to test boundaries, yet with the expectation that they'll come back, often more committed to their faith and family. But for some, this period of exploration brings up challenging questions about who they are and where they belong. Interestingly, studies on Amish retention rates reveal that an overwhelming majority, up to 90%, choose to return to the community, embracing baptism and committing fully to Amish life. This statistic shows the powerful pull of family and faith, even in the face of a world that offers vastly more freedoms. For those who don't return, the choice can mean separation from family and an entirely new life in an unfamiliar world. What would you do if you had a chance to experience life outside everything you've ever known? Would you explore the modern world or stay committed to tradition? Let us know in the comments. What would your Rumspringa look like? For Amish parents and teachers, however, shielding children from topics of romance is seen as a way to protect their innocence and reinforce the community's values of modesty and chastity. This approach keeps the boundaries of appropriate knowledge tightly controlled, but it also places a heavy reliance on informal learning and shared cultural norms. Such a system reflects a long-standing belief within the community that less exposure to worldly topics fosters a closer connection to faith and tradition. What do you think about the Amish approach to removing sex education from the classroom? Is it justified? If you agree, comment number 1. If you disagree, comment number 0. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. In most societies, the idea of courting involves some form of dating, where couples get to know each other through shared activities or conversations. But in Amish culture, a unique practice called bundling offers an entirely different approach. Bundling is a centuries-old tradition where a courting couple spends the night together, fully clothed in the same bed. However, the rules are clear. While they may lie close, physical contact is strictly off-limits. Bundling is intended as a premarital ritual that allows young men and women to talk freely and form an emotional bond without the pressures or distractions that physical intimacy might bring. By creating an environment focused on companionship, rather than physical connection, Amish culture provides a unique pathway for young couples to explore compatibility in a way that respects their values and traditions. Typically, couples who bundle might lie in the same bed, separated by a board or barrier to prevent any accidental contact. Sometimes, they might even be bundled into sacks to ensure they remain separate while still sharing the bed. In other cases, two beds may be pushed together, allowing proximity while still maintaining a physical boundary. The idea is to remove any temptation for physical intimacy, focusing instead on creating emotional closeness. Emotional connection is prioritized over physical attraction in courtship, underscoring the community's values of modesty and restraint. In an environment where arranged marriages are common and formal sex education is non-existent, Bundling serves as a socially acceptable way for couples to spend time together in a controlled setting before making a lifelong commitment. Historically, bundling was not unique to the Amish. It was once practiced in other societies in Europe and early America. However, as societal norms shifted, the practice faded elsewhere, but it still finds a place within the Amish tradition. Over time, some more modern Amish communities have moved away from bundling, allowing for other forms of courtship that align more closely with today's customs, like supervised dating. However, bundling remains a fascinating example of how Amish customs prioritize emotional connection over physical contact in relationships. Alongside their romantic lives in a world completely separate from modern human society, the question arises: how to control the family planning situation? For the Amish, life is often guided by faith, tradition, and a belief in the natural order. This perspective traditionally extends to family planning, where many Amish families believe in leaving it in God's hands. But, like any community, the Amish experience shifts in beliefs over time, and recent insights suggest subtle but notable changes in their approach to contraception. Historically, Amish families have been large, with 6 to 10 children being common. The principle of welcoming many children stems from a belief that family size should reflect divine will, rather than human decision. However, a slight decline in Amish family sizes over the past decade has raised questions. Researchers, including Amish studies expert Dr. Donald Craybill, observe that some Amish individuals are now considering options for family planning, indicating an evolving attitude. The use of contraception remains rare in the Amish community, yet subtle shifts are occurring. Certain Amish couples, particularly those with health considerations or those nearing the end of their childbearing years, may consult with healthcare providers regarding birth control options. In some cases, natural family planning methods are used, which align more closely with their values because they allow couples to avoid contraception while still practicing a level of control over family size. For older women, sterilization has become a more accepted option, especially for those facing difficulties with additional pregnancies. When Amish individuals seek medical advice, particularly in rural clinics where doctors may recommend family planning for health reasons, they may find themselves navigating options that previous generations would not have considered. While these choices may be minimal, they represent a shift from a purely fate-driven approach to one that occasionally involves medical recommendations. According to Dr. Craybill, this trend of using minimal or natural methods is likely a modernizing trend, a slow transition from seeing family size as an unchangeable fate to a conscious choice. This subtle change is particularly intriguing within a culture that typically resists modernization, suggesting that Amish values can adapt to address health and practical concerns. Living in tightly knit, insular communities, the Amish are known for preserving traditional ways of life, but this brings certain challenges. One of the most sensitive issues that arises from this is the limited genetic pool, which can lead to concerns about inbreeding. Since the Amish population pool is limited and few outsiders join the community, it's not surprising that married couples might be distantly or even more closely related. For instance, second cousins. The Amish population, estimated at around 375,000 in North America as of 2024, grows primarily through internal marriages rather than through external conversions or marriages with non-Amish individuals. This growth has led to what scientists call a founder effect, where a small initial population of settlers expands within itself over generations, but without new genetic diversity. As a result, certain genetic conditions are more prevalent in Amish communities than in the general population, such as Ellis Van Creveld syndrome, a rare form of dwarfism, and other recessive disorders. Amish communities are aware of the potential genetic risks associated with endogamy, or marrying within the same genetic group. Many families, particularly in smaller settlements, encourage young people to find spouses in neighboring Amish communities, allowing for a slight increase in genetic variation. This practice, while not eliminating the risks entirely, helps to lessen the likelihood of recessive genetic disorders. Larger Amish communities such as those in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Holmes County, Ohio, generally have a greater number of families and thus face fewer risks than smaller, isolated communities. Though the Amish have no formal policy on genetic counseling or medical testing, some communities are gradually becoming open to these practices. In certain cases, Amish families consult healthcare providers specializing in genetic disorders common within their population, helping them understand and manage health risks linked to close-kin marriages. The issue of inbreeding brings complex social dynamics into focus. The Amish emphasize tradition, family, and community bonds, so marrying outside the group is rare. However, in smaller settlements, where marriage options are limited, younger generations face the challenge of being closely related to potential partners. As a result, some Amish youth are encouraged to visit other communities or attend larger gatherings to meet young people from different settlements. Researchers have long studied genetic conditions among the Amish to understand how isolated gene pools impact health, leading to advancements that benefit both the Amish and the broader medical community. Medical professionals working with Amish families have developed methods that respect their values while helping them manage the challenges of limited genetic diversity. In a similar vein, the absence of sexual education creates a situation where Amish individuals, especially women, find themselves vulnerable. Tradition and family structures create a society where male authority is emphasized, extending deeply into aspects of marriage and relationships. At the heart of this system is a patriarchal structure, where men hold primary authority within the family and community, often influencing the daily lives of Amish women. In this setting, traditional views shape expectations within marriage, including those around love life and consent. For Amish women, the role of submission is taught from an early age, with values of obedience and modesty reinforced throughout their upbringing. As they enter marriage, many Amish women face an expectation of fulfilling their husband's needs as part of their marital duty. The idea of consent, as understood in mainstream society, is not a common topic in Amish communities. As a result, sexual autonomy is often limited, and many Amish women may feel unable to assert boundaries regarding intimacy, given that such conversations are rarely, if ever, encouraged. The absence of formal sex education in Amish schools means that many women enter marriage without a complete understanding of their bodies, reproductive health, or the concept of mutual consent. This lack of understanding can lead to difficulties that leave women uncertain about their rights in marriage. For men, too, the cultural silence around these topics fosters an environment where traditional expectations go unchallenged, reinforcing the belief that romantically active within marriage operates solely within the husband's terms. This environment also places difficulties on young Amish women, who may feel that maintaining their role in the family depends on adhering to these expectations. Those who attempt to speak up often face stigma, with community norms discouraging open discussions about personal or marital concerns. Some former Amish women have shared their stories, raising awareness about these issues and calling for a more balanced perspective on consent and autonomy. Their accounts, shared through books, online platforms, and documentaries, shed light on the restrictive nature of traditional Amish marriage expectations. As more individuals bravely leave the Amish community, they are revealing the deeply ingrained patterns within this closed-off society. These testimonials have sparked calls for support and change, especially for those facing difficulties in their marriages. Organizations and support networks are emerging to advocate for Amish individuals, especially women, who need assistance navigating these challenges, offering resources, counseling, and a platform for their stories. In light of these changes, there is growing hope that awareness will lead to shifts within even the most isolated Amish communities. While the patriarchal structure remains foundational to Amish society, ongoing discussions about autonomy and the importance of consent are beginning to reach the community's edges, marking a subtle yet significant move toward acknowledging personal boundaries and respect within marriage. Leaving the Amish community is a decision with significant implications and often brings major changes to an individual's life. This process, sometimes referred to as separation from the community, involves stepping away from family, friends, and a familiar way of life. For many Amish individuals, connections to their community are deeply interwoven with their personal identity. Making the choice to leave, whether for personal freedom, new experiences, or a different lifestyle, a journey that is both unique and challenging. For Amish individuals who choose to explore life outside the community, the traditional practice of meidon, or shunning, may lead to a form of disconnection from their community. This process often involves reduced social contact. Individuals may no longer attend family gatherings, church services, or community events. They may also observe some distance in family interactions, such as dining separately or limiting certain types of communication. This separation is intended to maintain the values of the community, sending a message that choosing a life outside the Amish way can mean a change in one's relationships and connections within this close-knit community. For many Amish individuals, family bonds hold a deeply significant place, and the possibility of separation brings an emotional weight. The impact of distancing from family and friends is often challenging, and for some, this sense of loss may be a reason they consider returning to the community after leaving. The decision to leave the Amish community brings challenges. Emotionally, the impact can be profound, as individuals may lose close connections with family, friends, and the unique cultural identity they grew up with. For those raised in these close-knit communities, stepping into modern society often means starting from scratch. They must learn new skills and adapt to lifestyles they may be unfamiliar with, which can sometimes feel overwhelming. However, with resilience and support, many ex-Amish individuals successfully navigate this transition, finding ways to blend their upbringing with the opportunities of the wider world. Leaving a tight-knit community can be a challenging choice, involving a delicate balance between seeking personal freedom and letting go of familiar traditions. For some individuals, finding love with someone outside of their community can make this choice even more complex. Relationships can be a strong motivation for change, but they can also increase the emotional weight of the decision, as stepping away may mean embracing a new life and potentially distancing yourself from family and friends. Organizations like Mission to Amish People, MAP, offer support to former Amish, helping them navigate the world outside the community by providing resources, housing, and basic education. Some turn to online platforms, sharing their stories with a global audience in hopes of raising awareness about the costs of leaving. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below about the next country you want to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.
Thanks for being with us on this great journey. Leave your thoughts in the comments and like to help us. Remember to subscribe for more. See you soon.